Well, a very good evening to you and a warm welcome to TV47 News Tonight. Glad you could join us and thank you for choosing TV47 News Tonight to inform you this 22nd day of September 2021. My name is Musa Salah and we have a lot lined up for you, but first, the top stories making headlines tonight. Tonight, at least 7.8 billion shillings was lost in the KEMSA scandal. The National Assembly Public Accounts Committee reveals.
We have also included that some of the people who need to be punished.
The committee recommends prosecution of former KEMSA board chairman Kembi Gitura and suspended CEO Jonah Manjari, among others. Also tonight, Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru hints at shifting to UDA. Is it the will of the people or political heat? Plus, Senate Minority Leader James Orengo moves motion for censure of Cabinet Secretaries John Munyes and Charles Keter for failure to deal with escalation of fuel prices.
I say that overtaxation, like I said yesterday, is slavery.
Welcome to the broadcast. Mini Mbesa is our sign language interpreter. TV47 News Tonight begins right now. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has discouraged the National Assembly against enacting electoral laws in the run-up to the 2022 general election. However, IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati has warned of paralyzed operations ahead of the 2022 polls, decrying of insufficient and untimely funding from the government. With a deficit of 14.6 billion shillings in its 40 billion shilling budget, the Commission is nonetheless hopeful to register an additional 7 million new voters as mass voter registration exercise begins across the country.
These are the people.
With less than a year to the 2022 general election, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, could be facing financial constraints in undertaking key operations to facilitate a tamper-proof election.
Bringing their fellow youth.
Speaking during an engagement forum with faith-based organizations in Nairobi, IEBC Chairperson Wafula Chebukati revealed that the National Treasury had only availed 26.4 billion shillings, leaving the electoral body with a 14.6 billion shilling deficit to attain a fully funded operational budget of 40.9 billion shillings.
Have more than 700 voters per polling station. We are now targeting to register, is it 6 or 7 million? 7 million? That will mean we shall increase our polling stations from the 40,883 we had in 2017 and to projected to be about 53,000 plus. Meaning we shall employ more people, so our wage bill will go up.
IEBC is on the 4th of October expected to launch a 30-day voter registration exercise, the Commission allocating 3 biometric kits to every ward to expedite the process. But questions over the practicability of the ambitious target of 7.2 million new voters in less than a year clouds the exercise. Since the 2017 general election, IEBC registered about 150,000 new voters, but the Chebukati-led commission has attributed the insignificant registration to small-scale constituency-based registration exercises as well as financial constraints.
The numbers have been low because it has been the office-based registration. As a commission, we are aware that there are cases in court to challenge that date. However, there are no court orders hindering us in our preparations. We also note that as a country, we have had regular and periodic elections, general elections, since we got independence.
The circumstances under which election can be postponed is only in the case of emergency. And emergency is the emergency that is recognized in law in that circumstance is only when the country is at war. God forbid we are not at war, and we have not been at war since Kenya got independence. We have been an island of peace.
Chebukati has also blamed the National Assembly of failing to accord the electoral body legislative support in enacting some of the electoral laws spearheaded by the Commission.
The IEBC Amendment Bill, which deals with boundary delimitation, was submitted to Parliament on 20th May 2020. We haven't heard anything about it. The Election Campaign Finance Amendment Bill 2020 was submitted on 21st August 2020. We yet to hear anything. And then the Commission also prepared a general report on proposed electoral reforms in Kenya, the IBC experience, which we submitted to both Houses of Parliament on 19th October 2020. And we're still hoping to get feedback from the relevant committees of Parliament.
As the Chebukati-led IEBC asks Parliament to defer amendments affecting its operations until the 2022 general election is concluded, religious leaders have been urged to encourage their congregants to register as voters to exercise their democratic rights.
And be able to...
Well, still on matters politics, Kirinyaga Governor Anu Mumbi Waiguru could be on her way to Deputy President William Ruto's led UDA party. Now addressing a gathering in her county, Waiguru said she will follow the will of the people in seeking for her re-election, as Joash Onsare now reports.
The political temperatures in Kirinyaga have now started to rise, with main interest directed at the gubernatorial position. Governor Waiguru, however, says she will follow the interests of the residents of Kirinyaga County in determining her political future.
Wangapi watanirudisha 2022 kama governor wa Kirinyaga? Utanirudisha? Mulinisikia nikisema mimi nasikiza watu wa Kirinyaga. Simulisikia? Na nikasema mimi nitafanya vile watu wa Kirinyaga wanasema.
Addressing residents of Jericho in Thifa Ward, the county boss said that she has been on a fact-finding mission on what the electorate wants, and it's clear that they want her to join UDA.
Nauliza ndugu zangu na dada zangu, kwa sababu nasikia mmesema mtanirudisha. Munataka nikuje na chama gani huku Kirinyaga? Nikuje na chama gani huku Kirinyaga? Nikikuja na hiyo chama mtanirudisha? Wangapi watanirudisha kwa kiti ya 2022? Mimi nitasema sio mimi nilisema, nauliza wananchi, vile wananchi wanasema, hiyo ndio njia tutafuata, si ndio?
Section of county MCAs have also asked her to seek a re-election on a UDA party ticket.
Ukiangalia mahali popote unasikia unasikia watu wakikwambia ukitaka kuja kuitiza kiti unja ukiwa juu ya wheelbarrow, ama si namna hiyo? Kwa hivyo kama ningekwambia kitu moja, ndoge iteo keonoria. Ukisikia wenye wajiku wamekwambia ingia hapo, hawa ndo mtakuwa nao, hao ndo walitetea yule hasura mkubwa, hao ndio watakutetea wewe. Kaa hapo kwa wheelbarrow, tumalize safari.
The governor has also challenged NARC Kenya party leader Martha Karua, who has also declared interest in the seat, to stick to national politics, where she has been named as the Mount Kenya spokesperson, and leave the gubernatorial seat to her.
Ile kazi tunasikia amepewa ya kuongea huko, aendelee na hiyo ya kuongea, si ndio? Lakini Kirinyaga kiti ya gavana iko na mwenyewe, si ndio? Kiti ya gavana 2022 Kirinyaga tunapatia nani?
Waiguru will now face her political nemesis, Kirinyaga woman rep Wangoi Ngirishi, who has declared interest in the gubernatorial seat on a UDA ticket. Joash Onsare, TV 47.
Now, a report by the National Assembly Committee on Public Investments has lifted the lid on the billions of shillings lost, as well as multiple procurement offences committed by the management of the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority KEMSA more than a year since the infamous KEMSA scandal broke out. The report by the Mvita MP Abdulswamad Nasir-led committee has concluded that the KEMSA management went against direct instructions from the Ministry of Health to utilize funds allocated for the UHC rollout, as well as requests for more funds directly from the Treasury. And as David Mudoka now reports, the committee has now called on the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission (EACC) to investigate and prefer charges against senior KEMSA officials, among them suspended CEO John Manjari and KEMSA Director of Procurement Charles Juma.
In the damning report that is a culmination of months of grilling by the National Assembly Public Investments Committee on officials from KEMSA, the Ministry of Health, as well as tens of tenderpreneurs, it is now not only apparent that billions of taxpayers' money were lost in the infamous KEMSA scandal, but also officials within KEMSA collaborated with tenderpreneurs to break procurement laws at the expense of a country grappling to keep the coronavirus pandemic at bay. According to the report seen by TV47, before tabling at the floor of the House by the Mvita MP Abdulswamad Nasir-led committee, the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority failed to adhere to relevant public finance management laws in budgeting and incurring expenditure for procurement of COVID-19 health products and technology. In one instance, KEMSA committed a total of 8.4 billion shillings towards procurement of COVID-19 related items against an approved budget of 4.6 billion shillings. Seemingly to plug the gap, the authority went on to irregularly utilize funds meant for the universal health coverage to purchase COVID-19 related items. According to the committee, the KEMSA management contravened the law in the two instances by commencing procurement without sufficient funds, as well as using public funds for purposes they are not appropriated for. The report further lays bare how the KEMSA management ignored the Ministry of Health on multiple occasions in violation of the law. In one occasion, the management ignored an advice from the Ministry of Health on the items to be purchased using 758 million shillings from the World Bank, while in another, the KEMSA top brass bypassed the MOH and wrote directly to the National Treasury in June last year seeking a 5 billion shilling budgetary support.
Kitu ambacho kwamba kitawagusa wengi, lakini tukianza kusema ya kwa tunakubali haya yafanyike, vizazi vijavyo vitakuja kufanya mambo ambayo kwamba yatakuwa ni ya kiwazimu zaidi. Maana utakuja kusikia ili bunge lenyewe pia limeuzwa. Sasa kwa vile limeuzwa, tunyamazeni kimya tu peke yake.
That the KEMSA management commenced the procurement of COVID-19 related items using the direct procurement method without proper systems in place, as well as used commitment letters which are not legally recognized documents to initiate the procurement, was also put under scrutiny, with the committee establishing that the two instances were in sheer contravention of the law.
Around 2 companies only are the ones that actually followed the true procurement laws. All the others used the issue of commitment letters.
The report further lifted the lid on suspended KEMSA CEO John Manjari's role in the KEMSA scandal, singling out an instance where Manjari personally backdated the irregular commitment letters to Shop and Buy Limited, one of the companies that had been summoned by the committee in the heat of the scandal.
Every single person, all the directors and every single person, their names are going to be very, very open. There is no one who we are going to tell you that this person is a very special person and we have hidden any name. As long as that person did any form of business, the CR12s are very, very clear as well.
The KEMSA management has also been faulted for failing to conduct a market survey to establish the market rate and demand for items it intended to procure and sell. According to the Abdulswamad-led committee, KEMSA bought the equipment at an exorbitant rate, a move that has seen the authority grapple with clearing the piles and piles of items such as masks and PPEs stocked at its warehouses.
Is once you've sold those items, you cannot now start saying that you're returning them back. The big question here now will be, what is the best way out for Kenyans?
The committee now wants the EACC to prefer charges against senior officials who were at the helm of KEMSA as the irregularities took place. They include suspended KEMSA CEO Jonah Manjari and Director of Procurement Charles Juma. It has further called on the EACC to investigate KEMSA board members Kembi Gitura and Gesuka Onsare, KEMSA Director of Finance and Strategy Waiganjo Karanja, as well as his legal department counterpart Ferdinand Wanyonyi. The report coming months after the Senate made its report on the KEMSA scandal. David Mudhoka, TV47.
All right, David Mudhoka's report takes us to our first commercial break, but we'll be back with more. Do stay with us.
You are watching TV47. Ability is common in everyone. Those abled differently also have immense ability.
Maybe we are not good in both, but we can be good in life.
They reach beyond the limits in their special, different way.
If the society can just be careful in what they call them and how they refer to them, that would at least be better.
They need to be loved. They have feelings. They would like to give love. It's a natural thing.
Catch their story on Beyond the Limit on TV47 every Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
The brain does not exactly know how to differentiate physical pain from the psychological.
Nilikuwa na feel nimefeel hata watoi wangu.
This month, our sisters, mothers and friends share their heartfelt stories of the pain and struggles with Joy Irongo.
We are all about being authentic and sharing our lifetime experiences to speak hope and empower a woman who's probably going through a rough patch.
Join us as we unravel the heartache.
So the doctor told me she has only 2 weeks to live.
Mimi nilikaa tu miezi 2 tu nikiwa na furaha kwa ndoa.
Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
Are you looking to buy a home? Or are you looking to build one, yet you don't know where to start? Well, The Realtor is your home of real estate development information, whether you are looking to invest in the city or outside the city. We link you with the experts in the field, be it designing.
We have also a very nice lighting and then gypsum decoration on the top of the ceiling.
Roofing.
When you involve a professional in your construction, there's a difference. Project that has been delivered by a professional person and a project that has not been delivered by a professional person.
Interiors.
What we are trying to go is for a mix of European and Middle Eastern look.
Everything all under one roof. Join us every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m.
Any waste stream in our society can be turned into a revenue stream. Basically, turning lemons to lemonade. It could be a restaurant, animation industry, artistry, or even fitness. Just like the sweet and sour taste of lemons, businesses have their highs and their lows. Join me, Violet Njoki, on the grind as business entrepreneurs tell us the tales of their business every Monday at 7:30 p.m.
Our version of Kilimo Diaries is different. Crops, livestock, all working together Everything has a purpose.
All right, welcome back. You're watching TV47 News Tonight. Keep talking to us. 22047 is our SMS line. You can also find us on social media at TV47 Kenya on Facebook, as well as at TV47K on Twitter. The hashtag to use is TV47 News Tonight. Now, a Nakuru-based doctor who allegedly killed his 2 children in his home in Milimani has died. James Gakara died while receiving treatment at the ICU facility at the Nakuru Level 5 Hospital. Chichi Josephine reports from Nakuru.
James Gakara died Wednesday morning while receiving treatment at the ICU facility at the Nakuru Level 5 Hospital.
Amekuwa kwa ICU kwa muda huu wote tangu Saturday. Lakini kufika leo asubuhi tarehe 22 saa 3 asubuhi ameweza kupumzika katika kifo.
Gakara, who is a professional doctor, is suspected of killing his 2 children by injecting them with insulin, used syringes, drugs and kitchen knife were recovered at the scene of the murder, and according to detectives, the minors had no physical injuries, proving that they were not physically assaulted.
We have not been able to identify any wounds, that physically there are no wounds on the said bodies, but we have taken these samples for purposes of confirming whether the drugs that may have caused the death could have been injected or orally taken.
Doctors at the facility say that Gakara was suffering from diabetes, which they suspected was one of the reasons that led to his death.
Walikuwa na dili habari ya ugonjwa wa sukari ilikuwa imeshuka sana, na kule kupandishwa kwa sukari ikakuwa imeleta shida kwa mwili wake.
However, his family is still defending him, denying the allegations that there were domestic brawls between Gakara and his wife on the idea of the wife flying out of the country for studies. The family says that the relationship between the two suffered no brawls and there were no reports of any fights.
It's all over the media that Winnie wanted to go abroad, which is not true. Winnie doesn't even have a passport. Winnie just registered at JKUAT with the help of the husband. And she was to attend weekend classes. So the day of the event, that was the second day that she attended her classes, because the previous weekend she went to register. That weekend, she attended her first classes.
Gakara's body was taken to Level 5 Hospital mortuary, awaiting a post-mortem tomorrow to establish the main cause of his death, while the bodies of the minors are still at PNN Funeral Home as the family begin burial preparations. Chichi Josephine reporting for TV47, Nakuru.
Well, the teachers in public schools have an opportunity to renew their professional certificates after every 5 years once they take part in the Teacher Professional Development Program that was launched on Wednesday. By the Teachers Service Commission. Now, Mount Kenya University is among 4 institutions that were competitively selected to offer the Teacher Professional Development Program. The other institutions include Kenyatta University, Riara University, and the Kenya Education Management Institute.
Nani atatuelezea ngeli ya AY inazungumzia nini? Sadimu.
All practicing teachers in public primary and secondary schools are expected to take part in the Teacher Professional Development Program.
Katika umoja vinachukua A, katika wingi vinachukua nini?
The Teacher Service Commission says once a teacher goes through the training, then it will help them be at par with the fast-changing world.
Before this, we have had a very rough time convincing anyone that teachers are professionals. When we go everywhere, even to negotiate for salary increases and so on, we are told, but your teachers are semi-qualified, that is the primary school teachers, and the others are, semi-skilled, and the others are, the semi-skilled, I think, we were told are the secondary school teachers, and the others who are primary school teachers are unskilled. And you feel very bad, because I am a professional teacher, because we want to have our teachers keep abreast with the trends in education and to become even better so that we don't stop learning immediately we leave school.
TSC settled on 4 institutions that will be offering the Teacher Professional Development Program. The 4 are Mount Kenya University, Kenyatta University, Riara and Kenya Education Management Institute. The teachers will be expected to meet the training costs for the modules that will be offered during school holidays, paying 6,000 shillings for fees.
And that's why we thought then we must come with a structured way to make teaching professional like all other professions so that they go and take out this certificate, they are recertified, and they take points like you'll find in law, in engineers and in the medical staff and so on.
It will help to improve the learning outcomes in the schools. We know that you want to reach the child, the easiest way is through the teacher. And therefore, if we capacity build the teacher, we are able to improve the learning outcomes, especially for the learner.
Initially, the leadership of Kenya National Union of Teachers was opposing the Teacher Professional Development TPD, but the new leadership has made an about turn.
Kenya National Union of Teachers opposed the rollout of TPD. I want to say this started way back in 2019. But we came up to understand, get to learn, get to know. Yes, much was not known to all of us. The Teachers Service Commission, as it is in law, played both the regulatory role and the role as an employer.
And there was a special request for teachers in the special needs sector.
Majority of our teachers or our members of SIGNET who are in this special institution take them very slowly. Majority of them are very old. You take them very slowly. As you roll out the program, which we are supporting, keep engaging and engaging. Keep engaging and engaging. We don't want it to hear today we are talking of 6,000. Then a span of 3 months, you have raised the fee without any consultation.
Most of the TPD modules will be available online. A teacher beginning the training will be required to complete 7 sections of Module 1 in order to be recertified. Each module will take a period of 5 years. Sharon Baranga, TV 47.
Now, 5 years since its implementation, Kenya's new education curriculum, dubbed the Competency-Based Curriculum CBC, has been shrouded in confusion. And now joining me to discuss this elusive reality is Bomet Governor, Dr. Hilary Barchok. Good evening, Governor. Good to see you. And of course, as you've seen on social media, there's a fuss about this whole issue of CBC. But the question every Kenyan is asking right now is CBC a problem?
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me a chance at least to have a discussion on this very, very important debate that is ongoing about CBC. And as you have clearly indicated, there are a lot of concerns from members of the public, the parents, the experts, and the unions on the issues pertaining to CBC, and I think there is something wrong. When you see people complaining and pointing at issues that are within the CBC, then there is something wrong with it.
I know you are a curriculum expert, Bona Governor, but in your own assessment, how would you rate the successes and failures of CBC?
In my own opinion, I don't think we have any success in CBC. And being an expert in curriculum development, this curriculum has failed from the onset.
Why do you say so, Governor? Because there are people who think this has really succeeded.
You know, we don't want to talk politics in CPC. And I want to say what we are implementing currently in the country is not CPC at all. Capturing the ideals of CPC, I would expect a situation where students should not be moving in cohorts, because the pupils that we have in class will not take the same time to develop the competencies that are required. And even if you look at the basic educational curriculum framework, there are guiding principles, and I want to narrow down to the one that is talking of differentiated learning, where if you read that document, it is saying it will, I mean, the learners will take different times in class to develop the competencies that are required, which means promotion from one grade to the next should not be the same. But what we are seeing currently is promotion, grade 1, you move to grade 2, you move to grade 3. So in essence, what we are implementing is not CPC.
All right, Governor, I'm sure we have more time to speak about CBC and other affairs, but it's time to take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with more. Do stay with us.
Ability is common in everyone. Those abled differently also have immense ability.
Maybe we are not good in both, but we can be good in life.
They reach beyond the limits in their special, different way.
If the society can just be careful in what they call them and how they refer to them, that would at least be better.
They need to be loved. They have feelings. They would like to give love. It's a natural thing.
Catch their story on Beyond the Limit on TV 47 every Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
The brain does not exactly know how to differentiate physical pain from the psychological.
Nilikuwa na feel nimefeel hata watoi wangu.
This month, our sisters, mothers and friends share their heartfelt stories of the pain and struggles with Joy Irongo.
We are all about being authentic and sharing our lifetime experiences to speak hope and empower a woman who's probably going through a rough patch.
Join us as we unravel the heartache.
So the doctor told me she has only 2 weeks to live.
Mimi nilikaa tu miezi 2 tu nikiwa na furaha kwa ndoa.
Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
Are you looking to buy a home? Or are you looking to build one, yet you don't know where to start? Well, The Realtor is your home of real estate development information, whether you are looking to invest in the city or outside the city. We link you with the experts in the field, be it designing.
We have also a very nice lighting and gypsum decoration on the top of the ceiling.
Roofing.
When you involve a professional in your construction, there is a difference. Project that has been delivered by a professional person and a project that has not been delivered by a professional person.
Interiors.
We are trying to go for a mix of European and Middle Eastern look.
Everything all under one roof. Join us every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m.
Any waste stream in our society can be turned into a revenue stream. Basically, turning lemons to lemonade. It could be a restaurant, animation industry.
Untold stories.
All right, welcome back. You're watching TV 47 News Tonight. Keep talking to us. 2047 is our SMS line. You can also find us on social media at TV47 Kenya on Facebook, as well as at TV47K on Twitter. The hashtag to use is TV47 News Tonight. And of course, to continue with the conversation earlier, with me in studio is the Bomet Governor, Dr. Hilary Barchok, who is also a curriculum expert, to just help us discuss this issue of CBC in the country. And of course, Governor, you had earlier on said that CBC had failed in all corners. But of course, CBC is, I think, the third curriculum in Kenya. And so do you think 844 failed before CBC?
Thank you so much, Musa. First of all, we need to understand the rationale for the changes. And perhaps to appreciate where we are at the moment. we need to ask ourselves, why did you change this curriculum? Why did we review? And probably we need to start from the 844 system of education. When we changed from the 7423 system to 844, there was a reason. And the major reason that was put forward was the old system of 7423 was more of preparing the graduates for white-collar jobs. So the proponents of 844 were saying the 844 would be a solution to the challenges that we were facing as a country at that particular time. We wanted to introduce a curriculum that will equip our learners with basic practical skills. And the philosophy that was behind the 844 system was education for self-reliant. So a number of subjects were introduced, vocational subjects and practical subjects. A lot of content was also introduced that would empower the graduates at the end of every level, be it class 8 or form 4, at least to be able to generate jobs for themselves. Over time, and I think this was our own undoing, we mutilated the 844 curriculum. There were a number of reviews which rendered what we initially thought would assist us as a society, as a country, to move forward, especially in ensuring that we empower our graduates to be self-reliant. We remove the vocational subjects, the practical subjects, the content that was perceived to be preparing learners for the world of work were actually removed and taken to higher education. And then when we did the summative evaluation that was done by KICD in the year 2009, there were a lot of complaints. And the complaints about the curriculum 844 were the same problems that we created through our own policies. One, it was claimed that the 844 system was theoretical. There were no practical subjects that were being taught. It was examination-centered and so forth. These were problems that were of our own making. Now, following that review, in 2012, there was a committee that was put in place, headed by somebody, Professor Watiambo, that did kind of a situational analysis, especially on the issue of 844 and what we need to do as a country so that at least we align the curriculum to the new constitution and also the Vision 2030. In that report, a number of issues were raised, concerns were raised, touching on the 844, which majorly reflects what were captured in the summative evaluation of KICD in the year 2009. And one measure that came out of that report is that it is important that we teach competencies, we develop competencies, we develop skills in our learners, so that at least...
All right, Governor.
Yes.
All right, Governor. You say that 844 was meant to teach learners how to be self-reliant. And our own selves mutilated that 844, and of course CBC came in to fill that gap. But allow me to read a tweet here by John Kageshe. He says, education is for empowerment, not examination. 844 ended up being for examination. Seemingly, CBC has begun on the same practicals, quote unquote, point as 844. Now, if there were loopholes within 844 and CBC came in to fill in those loopholes, why are we up in arms against CBC?
Now, Musa, I think we need to be very clear, because it seems as a country we are going around in cycles. Because if we started almost on the same note, like the CPC that we have claiming to be in place at the moment, because I think our major issue is we need to equip these learners with transferable skills, so that at least we have that, we call it learning that is that can be transferred to new situation to solve the problems within the community and so forth. So basically, when you analyze the rationale for this new curriculum. It is the same rationale that we are having when we're introducing the 844 system of education. Now, comparing the two, 844 and the CPC, if we were to stick to the ideals of CPC, this curriculum will be very expensive for us. Of course, some of the reasons that were put in place when we are mutilating the 844 system of education was that it was very expensive. Because one, there was a requirement that we have to construct workshops and put in place all those equipments that were supposed to support the different subjects that we were teaching. There was a claim from some section and quarters within the ministry that the curriculum was becoming very expensive. And then we talked of the curriculum being overloaded with so much content, and the number of subjects were reduced. And then even the practical aspect of it was not examined, and that is why it was ignored by our teachers. Now, I've started by saying CPC has failed. And the reason why I'm saying it has failed, personally, I wish that we rebrand the 844 system of education. We should have gone back, retrace our steps, and find out where we went wrong with the 844 system of education.
Governor.
Other than introducing a very expensive curriculum. And when you analyze the CPC, it is not actually CPC that we're implementing.
Okay, Governor, I hear you, Governor, but you've raised a very critical point in terms of the expenses involved. And of course, some parents have gone to court, of course, petitioning against CBC, but the CBC has increased the inequality gap in terms of public schools and private schools. Private schools have the access to most of these things to, pupils or rather learners are being asked to bring home, but the public learners in public schools cannot afford them. But if CBC was to continue, you've talked about rebranding 844, but if CBC was to remain, what should we do?
If CPC was to continue, one, we need to prepare teachers well. The story of talking of reorientation of teachers is not enough. You know, you reorientate teachers when we have small changes within a curriculum, minor changes within a curriculum. But when we have major changes, then we require retraining of teachers. So that is one. Secondly, we have to understand the role of the parents. At the moment, that is why we have a lot of complaints. Parents are not very sure of how to support. Of course, when you read the documents that have been put in place, developed by KICD, and even some of the committees that have been put in place, like the one that released an executive summary that was released by the president, I think it was in the month of May. We have not seen the full report of the same. That committee that was advising the Minister of Education on what needs to be done to ensure that CPC succeeds. One of the things that was highlighted in that document is that the parents need to be empowered and engaged. And how we will do that is not very clear. We have not put a framework in place to ensure the parental participation in ensuring that we have a conducive environment so that we can develop those competencies within our learners. Because remember the issue of values, for example. Values will not develop within the school environment alone. So we need to involve the society, the community, the home environment so that we can inculcate those values. So it has to be very clear how the parent will participate in ensuring that we have that in a conducive environment. And then thirdly, if CBC is to succeed, then we have to see the commitment from the government. When you analyze our budget, I think there is no seriousness on our side as a government because we have not put in money to ensure that we expand the infrastructure that we have. We are preparing for double intake in 2023 when we have the first cohort of the new curriculum training junior secondary school. We have the last cohort of the 844 training Form 1. Yet, when you analyze what we are doing at the moment, there are no clear plans that we are actually preparing for the same.
All right, Governor. I was heading there. I'm glad you talked about training of teachers. There is a tweet here by Batrufas Machoka. He says the first batch of CBC pupils who are currently in grade 5 are expected to transition to junior secondary schools in 2023. Yet secondary school teachers haven't been trained, corresponding facilities haven't been put in place, no syllabus, and even CBC textbooks so far. Does this confirm your fears and the fears of so many other parents out there?
Yes, exactly. Those are the concerns that we have as experts. Because, for example, a secondary school teacher requires a minimum of 3 years of training, a minimum for diploma, and maybe at most 4 or 5 years for training for those who are taking a degree program. So when you go back to our institutions of higher learning, there is nothing that is going on. We only have 2 years before we have the first group joining junior secondary school. We have new subject areas that we'll be teaching, like sports science. There is no teacher that has been trained in sports science as we are speaking. There's something that is very close to that in Kenyatta University, but we need to realign those programs so that it can fit what we have developed under what we call the basic education curriculum framework in that particular line. So that is a very clear indication that we don't have commitment, and that is why I'm saying this curriculum has failed from the beginning.
All right, Governor. There are concerns that, of course, one of the lawyers that submitted the petition in the courts, in her argument, she says the stakeholders were not involved. And of course, when you go to the ministry, some stakeholders were involved. So the question really is, who was involved in this decision making when we were beginning this journey?
Musa, you know, people will not just complain when they are involved. Currently, in all the activities that we do as government, be it within the national government or even the county government, public participation is very important, is key, so that people can understand and appreciate what we are doing as a government. And then more so when it comes to a very important activity like curriculum review. You know, this is a political and social agreement that captures the aspiration of the people. So what we are implementing and what we are teaching through a curriculum that we have put in place are actually addressing the needs of our society. So we needed a serious engagement. Of course, you cannot ignore, even those who have not gone to school have something to contribute. We also have the experts. Experts are complaining because I'm sorry to say, the people that we relied on, majorly in developing and reviewing this curriculum, are foreigners. People who don't understand the context that we are operating on, be it the social, economic, or even the political context that the countries are operating in. Of course, there are claims from some of these proponents that, you know, we have to progress like the other countries and so forth. So a curriculum is unique to the context. What works for Tanzania or Uganda may not necessarily work for Kenya. But we may borrow those basic standards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You've talked of the context, and of course, countries such as China and Singapore have developed, have implemented CBC. But if CBC was really to work, Bwana Governor, what are we've talked about trainings and so on and so forth, but what are we really doing wrong in terms of making sure that this becomes a reality?
One, I think what we have done wrong is copy-pasting. That is one. And then, of course, we have to analyze our socio-economic context. You know, I've said CPC is a very expensive curriculum. One, I would not expect a situation where one teacher is teaching in a class, because one of the ideals and one of the guiding principles that has been captured in the basic education curriculum framework is the issue of differentiated learning. So learners learn at different phases. And therefore, I would expect that within a classroom, you may have 2-3 teachers so that we can attend to the different needs that we have within that classroom. So one, even at the moment, under the 844 system of education, we don't have enough teachers. We don't have enough facilities in terms of classrooms, laboratories, and so forth. There is a lot of congestion within those classrooms. And therefore, this CPC will actually water down the quality of education in the country. And we cannot compare ourselves to China or Singapore. Look at the budget that they put in education. Look at their human resource.
Right.
Look at their infrastructure that they have within the schools. So we cannot compare ourselves. In fact, as we are speaking, Musa, in some parts of this country, learners are learning under trees.
Right.
Leave alone roof under their heads. No, nothing like that.
Definitely, that calls for, of course, raises concerns, Governor, but we are running out of time, and I would be out of place if I do not talk matters politics. And of course, you are an ally of Deputy President William Ruto, and of course, when he met a section of leaders from, I think, Murang'a County in his residence, the Deputy President showed his bias towards Senator Kang'ata contesting for the, or rather replacing Governor Mwangi wa Iria. That has sort of raised concerns in terms of the eligibility of the nominations within his, of course, his outfit. Does that raise concerns for you?
I think he has clarified that, and today over the news, I heard him clarifying that issue that no candidate is preferred. So even in where I come from, Bomet, I have a number of my friends competing for the same seat that I am also will be going for in 2022. So in UDA, I think we have a lot of democracy, and we'd expect that everybody will be given a chance to run and fight for that seat, of course, competitively. Whoever will emerge within